Goodness, there certainly seems to be a chill setting into the air. Another summer, come and gone, and autumn, setting in. That means another year this cafe has been open as well. How wonderful. Hmm? Wait, what's this flyer? Toji Matsuri. Oh, Toji Matsuri. Oh, right. Huh. Yao said that was happening near the end of the year. I guess I've been so busy I barely realized we're in autumn now. Oh, I should tell people about this. Obon Matsuri was such a blast earlier this year, I'm sure. Hmm, you know, I know at least one patron that would certainly be interested in this. Hello once again, dear friend. Thank you for your kind words and pep talk last time. As you can see, I'm full of spirit once again, and the cafe is going well. Autumn is here, and the leaves look lovely as they change colors. I see you even tracked a few of them into my cafe, but that is what we have magic brooms for, I suppose. Though, before I take care of those leaves, how about I take care of your drink? Well, since you're here, I wanted to talk about some flyers that you've likely seen around town for an event called Toji Matsuri. Toji Matsuri is an event hosted by Senpan Tea House. I don't know if you've ever been, but their owner Yao is really nice. I actually got the pleasure of attending one of the tea house's events earlier this year, and I thought you might be interested. Maybe you could come to Toji Matsuri with me next month. I could tell you about it myself, and don't get me wrong, I would certainly love to, but in keeping with the tradition at this cafe, I thought it'd be better to have Yao come by and tell you more about it herself. In fact, she should be here in just a little bit. So why don't you make yourself comfortable and we can wait for her to arrive? Today I am joined by the wonderful Yao, who is owner of Senpan Tea House, as well as the planner for two very interesting, unique events, Toji Matsuri and the annual Obon celebration that we are going to get into later in this interview. Toji Matsuri and Obon Matsuri, I mean. So with that being said, Yao, welcome to Coffee and Carbuncles.
Hello, happy to be here.
And I am delighted to have you here. I came to, I believe it was Obon Matsuri, or, no,
It
what
was.
was it?
It was the Obon Matsuri at the end of August.
Yes,
Yes.
okay. I admittedly, while getting ready for this interview, I got the two of them a little mixed up, so forgive me.
Okay, that's okay.
But I attended Obon Matsuri. It was such an amazing experience, and I got to meet you and all of your affiliates, and I was like, I absolutely want to do an episode about this celebration. And I knew I had to have you on this podcast. So thank you so much for agreeing to be on here. I
Of
am
course.
delighted right now.
Thank you for having me here. It's an honor as well.
Where are you joining us from today?
I am joining you from Canada.
Oh, cool. I am in America, so we've got a little bit of distance, but nothing too bad.
That's okay. Border neighbors.
It's okay. You can just hang out in my attic. It's fine.
Hmm. I
Or
don't know about
maybe
that. I have a tea house to run.
or I suppose like with you in Canada, are you in my attic or am I in your basement? Hmm.
Hmm. That is a very good question.
I really hope that like all of the listeners from Canada and the US are sitting here pondering this with us right now. I
If
don't
if
I
the
don't want to feel
main
like the only dork here with geography. I'm sorry.
That's okay. If the main floor is like if the first floor is the main floor and there's an attic, like then I would be in the attic. But if the main floor doesn't have an attic but has a basement, then you would be in the basement.
Yeah.
I think. The math is mathing, I think.
Well, as much as I would love to contemplate this, this has nothing to do with our interview today. If people want to debate this in the comments, by all means do. I'm down for it. And by debate, I mean I have no answer because this is a silly question. But now that we've got some laughs in, ah, I have my cup of hot water, and I hope that you have something a bit more than hot water ready for this interview.
I do. I have a cold cup in comparison to your hot cup. I have a cold cup of jasmine tea.
That sounds delightful, actually.
It is. It's it's from the Japanese brand Itoen. So it's very nice to drink.
So I have to ask, is that something that you normally drink, or is that something special you busted out because you're like, I'm about to do an interview about a tea house I run?
This is actually something that I normally drink. So I have first thing in the morning, I have a cup for work, and then I have a cup after lunch, and then I have a cup for dinner.
So you take your tea seriously.
I
It's
like
serious
tea.
business in your house.
Time.
So before we get into the interview proper, I want to know a bit about your background. Obviously, you run Senpan Tea House. You do these 14 events that I keep hyping up, and we will definitely get to those. But tell me a bit about you outside of 14. Do you have any particular hobbies you're into? Curiously, tea ceremony, like actual Japanese tea ceremony. Thoughts?
So by day, I am a UI artist in the game industry. And my hobbies pretty much almost always involve designing. M Breathing it all around the clock, designing for work by day, and then by night, I am designing for Final Fantasy 14 players. And when I'm not designing, I am indulging in gacha games and reading boys love. And then when it comes to Japanese culture and tea ceremonies, as an Asian person myself, like I've always loved and appreciated Eastern culture and traditional aesthetics. And a lot of the things I do and the things that I design for myself, it always incorporates Eastern aesthetics one way or the other. And then for tea ceremonies, I've actually never experienced one myself. And it would definitely be something that I do want to experience in the future, but it is something more of a formal thing in my culture. Um, so fingers crossed, one day maybe I'll experience it, whether for my culture or just for fun.
I genuinely hope you can. Tea ceremonies are very interesting, and I've had the honor of attending a few. It is it is a very meditative event, let's put it that way. It's very soothing, and it's also very social, and it's nice. So I certainly hope that you can be able to attend that sometime.
I hope so too. For sure, something for fun. Because in my culture, it's something that you do when you get married, which I don't have any plans to do right now. So I definitely hope, maybe with a friend, to go and attend one for fun, just to experience.
If you do, I hope you'll tell me all about it sometime.
I will.
Awesome. After talking about that tea ceremony and your background, I can't help but wonder, let's skip forward just a little, give a little teaser of part 2. What inspired Senpan Tea House? Like where does the inspiration come from? Is it from specifically from your culture, or is it from you went to a cafe or watched a particular like anime or movie? Where does your interest in tea houses specifically originate from?
So, first and foremost is for sure because I love tea. And then the second factor is that I love traditional Eastern aesthetics and culture and history and all of that. So just like um wanting to design a tea house when I got into the game was something that like something that we'll find out the why and the how later, but it was definitely uh a factor of how the tea house, like, came to be.
Interesting. Now, I know that this is coffee and carbuncles, but let me ask you, what are your thoughts on matcha? Some people say it tastes like grass and they don't drink it. Others really enjoy the earthy flavor. Personally, I have matcha every few days and I love it. Where are you when it comes to matcha and tea?
I actually love it. I don't think it tastes like grass at all, actually. Like,
Good,
the
because I object when people say that.
I don't think at all that it tastes like grass. It just it's just a very deep and rich flavor that you can enjoy in so many ways, like, whether it's in food or drinks or desserts. Like, I personally like it in my boba and in my ice cream.
Oh, I'm such a sucker for matcha ice cream. I have a bit in my freezer. I love it. My theory is that the reason people say it tastes like grass is because matcha has this deep, earthy flavor to it. And I think that people just don't have anything to compare it to. And so their mind sort of goes to like, natural earthy flavors. And the first thing their mind sort of gravitates towards is like grass and fields and stuff. You think of nature when you taste matcha. And so I think that's kind of where that comparison comes from. Because I also, for the people who say it tastes like grass, I'm like, but hopefully you've never actually eaten grass.
That's
So,
what I
so
was
where are you
thinking
pulling
too.
that from?
It's like you would know it tastes like grass if you ate the grass.
Right. Right. Which I don't get me wrong. I mean, I don't know who has and hasn't eaten grass. And while we are getting on some weird topics in this interview, but
My bad.
but I can't help but wonder that, it's like when I hear people make these comparisons, you kind of have to wonder, well, where how did you get from point A, which is eating the matcha, to point B, which is grass, Maybe it's the color.
It might be the color.
Like
Um,
between the color and the earthy flavor it has, people are just like, "Oh, this is what I imagine grass tastes like."
that honestly fair, yeah. Especially, you know what, if they've if matcha is the first sort of earthy thing that they're introduced to when it comes to like Asian teas and food and all of that, and then like they don't know what to expect. It might also kind of factor in like, oh, like looks like grass, it might taste like grass too, and then it just clicks in their head that it's grass.
Possibly so. Here we are. We're only a few minutes in and we're getting into psychology.
Ah.
That's right. This episode of Coffee and Carbuncles isn't about events at all. It's about the psychology of matcha drinkers. Surprise.
Mm.
But we will get into to Final Fantasy. And let's start right now. Let's move away from the psychology of people who've never had earthy teas before matcha.
Mm.
How did you come to the Final Fantasy franchise? I'm guessing that wasn't tea related.
Oh, if only it was. Uh, so the
I get it.
very
You saw the 14 boba tea collab, you drank the boba tea, and you're like, now that I have this code, I better start playing this game.
Oh my gosh, I was well into the game before the boba came out, collaboration. But you know what? I wish they did it earlier. I wish there's more. There should be more.
There really should be, and I hope there is. But
Uh-huh.
fantasy franchise.
Yes. So the very first time, it was like way back then when I was a teenager and I picked up Dissidia on a whim for my PSP with a bunch of other games. They were all on sale and I was just like, you know what? Let's just pick up all of these. I don't know what they're about, but I'm gonna try them out. I don't remember much about Dissidia, but I do know that I quite enjoyed it a lot and was addicted to it before my little brother accidentally dropped my console and broke it. So I couldn't enjoy it anymore after that.
Oh no!
Yeah. Um, so regardless though, with the short amount of time that I did manage to play it, I'm glad that I did pick it up because it was very enjoyable. Um, then the next time that I came across the franchise was when I was listening to Kumi Koda, and I heard that she sang Real Emotion in 1,000 Words for X2. And I was a huge, huge, huge Kumi Koda fan back then, and the two songs that she sang for the game were so good and addicting to listening to and like sing along to. And I got into the lore of the game without actually playing it. So spoiled myself a little bit, but it was nice to just like read about. And then outside of those two instances, I got into 14. Outside of that though, like I don't have much other experience with the Final Fantasy franchise. There are a couple of games from the franchise that I do want to buy and play, but I unfortunately don't have much free time outside of like playing 14 and then my usual gacha games. So one day I hope to experience more and enjoy more.
You know, that's really interesting because I think usually when I ask people how they got into Final Fantasy, it's usually through like Final Fantasy 7 or 8 or 9, one of the mainline games, and then they kind of slipped into 14 later on. I think you are the first person I've spoken with who actually started with Dissidia.
Really?
And well, because usually when people are approaching Dissidia, it's because they're already Final Fantasy fans since it was a big crossover game.
Mm-hmm.
And so to hear someone's journey actually begin with Dissidia is very unique. And that's really interesting to me. But it does make me want to ask then, who did you main in Dissidia? Like, who did you end up really liking?
Genuinely, I don't remember. I was so young back then. And I tried like every single character. And then before I could even like figure out which one was my favorite, my console broke.
So you went Dissidia, Final Fantasy X-2 spoilers, and then you saw 14 and was like, I need that? Like how did you decide to pick up 14?
So I actually started the game with my boyfriend at the time because we were looking for a new MMO to play together. And then when we played, I think it was a little after Stormblood came out. And I don't remember what the exact reason was, but there was something at the time that made me think that the game wasn't for me. So we dropped it at around like 25, level 25 or 30. And then I got back into it a couple years later with a friend, and now here I am.
I guess I'm a little caught off guard.
It's like a very unconventional like start for a Final Fantasy player, yeah?
It is, though it also makes me curious, when you came back to 14, was it the same character that you played with your boyfriend, or did you decide to make a completely new start?
New start, whole new start, because like I wasn't together with him by the time that I started again. So I was just playing with a friend from college, and we started whole new characters. And I honestly, I don't think I remembered the login for my very first one as well. So I was just like, yeah, you know what? Let's just make a whole new character, start from the very beginning, so I can re-experience everything properly for the first time.
So let's start from there. What kind of character did you decide to make, and what class did you go with?
Um, I went with a Midlander, if I remember right. When I started again for the second time, it was actually a year before Endwalker came out, so Vieras weren't out by then, like bunny girls. So, uh, my option was a Midlander, and then pretty sure I started out as like Paladin at first. And then I was like, you know what? This isn't what I thought it would be. Because I didn't know it was a tank back then. And I was like, I feel like I want something that's a little bit more DPS-y, so then I went with Ninja instead.
And are you still playing Ninja?
Nope. I actually main Sage right now, and I've been maining it for actually since it came out.
Oh, cool.
Hmm.
So how are you feeling about the state of healers at the moment? Because I know I've heard a lot of not great opinions about tanks being as self-supporting as they are at the moment.
I mean, I think it's great that they're self-supporting because then I can focus on doing the mechanics and then healing the non-tank players because they'll take obviously a lot more damage during raid wides and like hard hitting mechanics. So if it's two less people that I have to worry about during an 11-minute fight, I am happy about that.
That's a unique take because usually I see healers obviously being focused on, well, where is my ability slash need to heal the tank? But you make a fair point that that does free you up to heal the DPS because
Yeah,
as a DPS main, as much as I play the game and I like to think I'm good with mechanics, that hasn't stopped me from getting hit by a few things. So I definitely appreciate the healer being more freed up to patch me up.
exactly. And especially in like high-end rating, DPS especially, they are expected to maintain as much uptime as possible. So there is a very high chance that they are going to get hit more often than not. And so if the tanks are self-sufficient and if the DPS gets hit, it is better just to shift the focus onto the DPS to make sure that they stay alive because we need them alive to continue hitting the boss down to be able to meet the damage check and ultimately beat the fight.
Do you do a lot of high end rating?
I do. I do a lot of Savage raiding. Getting into Ultimates as well is just with the limited amount of time I have. I just haven't been able to clear an Ultimate yet, but it is on my list.
That's really impressive. I mean, event host, busy IRL job, and raider. Wow. You embrace all parts of 14.
Yep. And then also the creative side as well with G posing and stuff like that. So it's just that I have a finger in everything, I think.
You're just like, I'm here. So then tell me about the back to 14 healer to role player pipeline. Like how how upon returning to the game did you then get involved in role playing in 14?
When I first started out my second start with the game, I was a lot more focused with the MMO aspect and like the combat system and all of that. And then my friend had mentioned to me that there was housing in the game, which I did not know of. And I am a huge stickler for housing in any game that I play. So if there's an option, I like to dabble in it and see where I can go with it. And she shouldn't have told me, honestly, because I After finishing Endwalker, I completely stopped doing content to make money to get my house. And then when I got the house, I put all my focus into building the venue and then getting it started and running, and then kind of went from there.
You sound like the type of person, at least to me, that when you decide you take an interest in something, there is either 0 or 100, and you're like, I am in here and I am going full steam ahead.
You are absolutely correct.
I'm the same way, and I certainly respect that. And in part 2 of the interview, we are going to talk all about that house you got and what you've been doing with it.
Excellent.
So I think that you and I are going to take a bit of a tea break. And then when we get back, we will talk all about the Senpan Tea House as well as Toji and Obon Matsuri.
Sounds good.
All right. I'll see you in a bit.
Alrighty.
All right. Yao and I are back, I think, hopefully.
We better be.
I didn't scare you off?
No. I didn't scare you?
Only a little. It might be
Oh,
the Obon Matsuri just taking effect. I don't know.
my bad.
All right, Yao. I'm going to get straight to the point. I have you on to talk about a lot of different projects, but I want to start with the origin of it all. You
Sure.
run, if I might say, a very beautiful establishment known as Senpan Tea House, and I want you to talk all about it. How would you describe it, and how did it get its start?
Alrighty. So Senpan Tea House is a traditional Eastern tea house, and it's full of calm, serenity, and Japanese ambience. It's overall a place that one can come to when they need a quiet place to relax, either alone or with company. Um, when I started this game, so if you remember earlier, I said that I was originally playing for the MMO aspects, right? And then
Yeah.
I didn't know that housing and venues existed until my friend brought them up to me, and then she implanted the idea inside my head.
Do
um,
tell.
so the thing is that like back then, before I got my actual job, I was working like really long retail hours. And by the time I got home, the only like time that I had to relax, I was also playing the game at the same time. And so I was just like, you know what? This idea of opening up my house and starting a venue was like really I like it's really appealing right now because I just honestly want to sit in peace and quiet and maybe have a conversation here and there with whoever may come by. And I honestly imagine that like other people, like with a lot of 14's player base being older working adults, um, I imagine like their day to day was also really busy as well with their own work and their family and like other obligations. And so, just like me, their only form of enjoyment and relaxation is probably also through the game itself. And so, with whatever little time that they have in their busy life, like if they want a place to come to and like sit down and relax and maybe have a conversation without any like pressure or anything like that, like um I wanted to open up my place and have that place be there for them so that we can all just sit in silence and just enjoy each other's presence.
So for you, it really is about creating a relaxing ambiance.
Yeah, I needed it, and I'm sure other people needed it. So,
And for the sake of promoting this, where is this tea house located?
um, it is in Primal Exodus, and it'll shoot. Sometimes I forget my address sometimes, but I'm pretty sure it is Plot 3 of Ward 26. I've had this house for like 3 years, by the way, and I sometimes always still forget the address.
I have a free company house that I run, as well as a private house for my character. And honestly, if you ask me the address for either of them, I can't tell you. I have to go to Lodestone every time, so I get it.
Oh no.
But also, we will have links up in the show notes to Senpan Tea House, as well as both events we're talking about. So everyone can feel free to check those out, and you can definitely figure out where this tea house is.
Thank you.
Now, your establishment plus its affiliates host two events that I want to discuss: the Obon Matsuri and the Toji Matsuri. With the Obon Matsuri being a more spooky, spiritual, yokai focused event, and the Toji Matsuri being focused on the winter solstice. Now, I loved Obon Matsuri, and I was hoping you could promote that a bit. Maybe tell us about it.
I'm happy to hear that you enjoyed your time during our Oman Matsuri. Um, it is a bright and lively festival that we host for 2 days at the end of August of every year, and it's a fun way to end the summer season. Uh, just like other festivals, there's like food booths, activities, mini games. It's all hosted by Senpan and our affiliates. And there's also music played by bards throughout the entire event for everyone to enjoy while they're mingling. Each day I also host a contest, and the first day's contest is always different every year, and the second day is always a glam contest. So overall, there's something for everyone to enjoy.
Now, one problem I've encountered with this podcast is it's always very difficult for me to talk about events because obviously I can show people all kinds of pictures or you and I can talk about it, but it's hard to really explain the atmosphere and explain what it's like being at a particular event. So, if you'll bear with me, I actually want to try something new and paint a bit of a picture. All right?
Sure. Yeah.
Based, of course, on my own experiences coming to Obon Matsuri. So, if anyone listening wants to sort of close their eyes, relax, and start getting a mental image in their head, by all means, please join us. Now, when you're first coming to Obon Matsuri, you are approaching a large plot of land, and the first thing you see is at the gates to this plot of land, one or two women dressed as Oni, which, for those that don't know, are large horned Japanese ogres. They usually carry large clubs with them, and with that theme in mind, the women you see at the entrance to the Obon Matsuri actually have the clubs that you can get from PvP for, I believe, Dark Knight.
Yes.
And they also have the horns as well as tiger skin outfits, which is usually how some Oni are portrayed in classic mythology. So right away, as you're approaching the front gates, you're already getting a sense of the yokai themes, the traditional Japanese themes, and you haven't even stepped foot onto the estate proper yet. Now, as these women let you in. You walk in, and to your left, you see an entire arrangement of booths. And these can be people selling various items. These can be role play vendors selling various types of food. Or it can even be fortune tellers inviting you to come get your fortune read. Ahead of you, you'll see a large open space in the middle of the estate with a stage in front of it, where usually this is where the bards will be performing, or if there's some type of other performance happening because, the bards are taking a break, this stage is where those performances will be, and everyone will be sitting not on a lawn, but actually on a really nice mat sprawled out in front of the stage. Now, as you go beyond this, in my experience, I actually encountered something really neat that helped really endear Obon Matsuri to me, and that was the drawing and telling of fortunes. Not like a tarot card reader, but like 14 characters dressed up as traditional Japanese shrine maidens that encourage you to come over, and you roll a random number, they pick a fortune for you, and they actually invite you to come to a makeshift shrine on the grounds of the estate and do traditional clapping and bowing as though you were at an actual Japanese shrine, which I thought was the best, coolest touch for the sake of immersion. I was really impressed by this. And then after you've done the ritual clapping and bowing, they will actually take a minute to look up and give you a fortune for the year. And I just thought that was the neatest thing in the world. And I hope that this helps give you a bit of a teaser of the type of things you can expect while attending Obon Matsuri. Yao, would you say that's pretty accurate? Do you have anything you'd like to add to that description?
That is very accurate. And then you cannot also forget the lively atmosphere of everyone just mingling around, interacting with each other, and overall just having fun as one should at a festival.
That is true. And that's another thing that is very difficult to convey just through words, which obviously, if you're listening to this, we're pushing you to attend Obon and Toji Matsuri. It is an annual thing Yao hosts, so please go. But a little bit back to what Yao mentioned is so many people were attending, and it's not like disorganized chaos, everyone running and jumping around. A lot of people were choosing to walk around. A lot of people that attended were in traditional Asian inspired outfits. Um, you even had some people doing their best to dress like yokai as well as they could, with 14's admittedly a bit limited clothing options when trying to dress like that. And you also had a lot of people in 14's yukatas and just dressed as though they were at a proper Japanese festival.
Yep.
And everyone's talking in say chat or tells, and there was a very cordial atmosphere, especially when all of us are sitting down in surprisingly organized rows in front of the bards playing on stage.
It always amazes me when I see people do that because they just do it unprompted and it's very respectful, and I always appreciate people that do that, especially during big events.
It was so nice. And to your credit, you as well as some of your staff and some of your affiliates are taking time to send people tells, basically asking, hey, are you enjoying this? Are you having a good time while attending? And I feel like that's another personal touch that really leaves a great impression on people.
I am happy to hear that. I'm sure they'll be happy too when I pass along your compliments to them.
I hope they listen
Yeah.
to this. But tell me, Obon Matsuri, It was a very fun celebration. As we talked about, it was yokai themed, it was Obon themed, it was wonderful. What's the difference between that and your upcoming Toji Matsuri? Like, what gives each of them their own special flair?
So, Obon Matsuri focused on spirits and yokai. The main the main thing about that is that it is more centered around summer and then also wishing your ancestors like a peaceful crossing back into our world before they go back to the afterlife. Um it's also just the idea of closing out the summer with something lively and fun is what separates Obon from Toji. And for Toji, it's bright and lively just like Obon, but the structure of like how I run the two is the same, by the way. Um it's just the difference is that because it falls on the holiday season and it's so close to Christmas, it basically um it's more of like instead of closing the summer, you are closing the year. And it's a little bit more serene when it comes to like the feeling that you have when you go to Toji. Um in general, Toji Matsuri celebrates the winter solstice and the harmony and balance of life by embracing winter. And traditionally, you would pray for good health and then you would eat auspicious foods before spring returns. And with it falling so close to Christmas, with all of those like customs mashed together, generally wanted to I wanted it to be an event where we give back to the community just a little bit more, whether it is under like an Eastern preface or a Western preface for Christmas. And I think that's what separates Toji from Obon because it's just like a huge pot of like soup or like a mixed salad for people to enjoy from like a little bit of different customs here and there at the end of the year. Um, it's like it's funny because you can just visit Senpan's booth for like a traditional cup of matcha and sake manju to pair. Then the next booth over, you'll have like a reindeer selling you hot chocolate or something. Overall, it's just a mixture of culture and fun to close the end of the year.
And Toji Matsuri is coming up soon. Could you tell us exactly when that's going to be and give us an idea, sort of what we can expect or anything we should prepare ourselves for?
Yes. So I actually don't have much info because I quite literally just started my preliminary planning and pinged my affiliates yesterday. But I do have the dates for you, which is December 6th and 7 of this year. Um,
And you have a card that will
I
be
do.
linked so people can get a better sense of screenshots as well as ideas of what to expect with that coming up.
Exactly. Every year with my festivals, like my formula doesn't change at all. So each festival is the same in structure. It's just what the vendors decide to bring for each festival. It can differ. And how they have fun will be different every year. So just like Obon, Toji this year will be full of food booths, games, activities, music, and 2 contests for everyone to enjoy. There's something for everyone to enjoy, regardless of whether you RP or if you only want to gamble and win prizes or just lose all your money. Or if you just want to sit back and enjoy the atmosphere.
That is something that we should probably talk about is obviously I like to role play. I talk about it a lot on this podcast. But when you attend either Toji or Obon, you do not have to role play if you don't want to.
Nope.
It is not required at all.
No. With my venue itself too, like role playing is not a requirement, and so I push that onto my events as well because role playing isn't for everyone, and I know it can be a little daunting for people attending events and like It's like, oh, do I have to roleplay to be able to fully enjoy this? It's like, no, you don't. You can enjoy this as yourself and you can have fun without feeling the pressure of needing to roleplay.
And I think that's very important, especially for community driven events. While I talk a lot about roleplay, and we'll talk about it later in this podcast, at the same time, there is that understanding that it's not for everyone. And there are times where even I just don't feel like I have the energy necessarily to roleplay, but I do still want to attend an event.
Hmm.
Speaking of, I'm curious, what what brought these events about? Like, what made you decide to make the jump from venue owner to big event planner?
I always like to give back to my patrons, and I always liked to basically do something for them to have fun with, and for myself and my staff to have fun with. And then coupled together with I I love festivals. So every summer I go to like 2 to 3 festivals with my family to enjoy my culture and like other Asian cultures and then like all the other food options that they have. And I wanted to bring that into the game. So while I was thinking of like different ways to set up my events and stuff like that, because I have most of my events are seasonal based, like for Valentine's or something like Hanami for spring. So I wanted like something for everyone, whether they only want food or to role play or to just listen to music and enjoy a contest or two. I just wanted something that everyone can just enjoy. Um, Unfortunately, I didn't have the staffing outside of myself and Senpan's small staff roster to run large scaled events, since the tea house is like quiet and steady on a regular day. So it was the amount of people that I had didn't match up to the ideas that I had. But what I do have is 12 affiliates. And at the time, I was coming up with ways to collaborate with them and do things with them because I personally don't like the notion of being affiliated just to be affiliated, you know? Like, I don't think it makes sense to stop at having each other's logos posted on each other's cards when you could just do so much more by collaborating with them and then bringing fun and excitement to each other's patrons, and then ultimately to the community. So, putting all of that together and the fact that I have 12 affiliates with their own staff, I was like, I can make a festival out of this.
And so you did.
I did. Now I do it 2 times a year. And I think this is our third year.
And I remember when you first told me that, I was very shocked because as someone who has a character from Doma, does a lot of East Asian focused role play, when you told me that this had been going on for 3 years now, I was sitting there scratching my head going, how have I not heard of this before? And that was a big part of also why I wanted to do an interview with you because I'm like, if I am not to like oversell myself, but I like to think I'm fairly involved in the roleplay community in 14 and have a pretty good sense of what goes on in it. And I'm like, if I am as deep in roleplay as I am and deep in celebrations of East Asian culture in 14, and this has been going on for 3 years and I haven't heard about it, I really want more people to hear about this. And so I'm really glad that you're here and we can talk about it because I was, I think it's obvious by now that it did leave a pretty big impression on me attending this year.
I'm glad. It's definitely it can be a little challenging to get information about us out, especially since like uh 90% of the things of the way people hear about Senpan in general is through word of mouth and from Party Finder. So our events are pretty much the same way as well, through word of mouth, and then like sharing the advertisements to uh discords and like stuff like that. Like we show the ad to our patrons when we post the event, and then they share it with their friends, and then it just goes on from there.
Is it hard planning these big events? I mean, you talked about how yesterday you started contacting affiliates, but also given that you're on year 3 now, how much time do you usually need to set aside to prep and plan for one of these celebrations? Like what kind of work goes in it now that you've sent notifications to your affiliates and got the ball rolling? What sort of happens between now and say Toji?
Okay, this is a heavy loaded question with a heavy loaded answer. Are you ready?
I am ready. Hit me with it.
Okay, so to me, it is not so hard as it is time consuming. A little bit about myself again. I have 7 years of retail experience, and all of those years were like a part of management teams. So I'm familiar and experienced with like running and managing staff so that things get done. And then also being a huge stickler for details, organization, and planning, which comes with being a creative all my life. So all of that I think was the foundation for me to be able to properly um, get the ball rolling and then staying on top of things so that we could have a successful event. When it comes to planning, uh, first and foremost, at the start of every year, I actually spend about an hour doing something that I call like the Senpan event forecast, where I just plan out dates for all of my events, both small and large. So then I'll send that event forecast to all my affiliates. I have them all in one channel so that I don't have to message like 12 people in separate DMs. I could just post it there, ping them, and then they can see it. um, and so when they see the event forecast, they are aware and know in advance what and when my events are so that they can, if they have to plan around them, then they can. And then in the case of Obon and Toji Matsuri, they'll be aware of when it's planned to happen so that if they want to try something new that year, they'll have plenty of time to think about it. Um, Time frame wise, for small events, I only need like 2 days to a full week. But for big events like Obon and Toji, I actually start planning 1 to 2 months in advance before the actual event date. And the first thing that I do is set deadlines for myself primarily, and then also for my affiliates to meet. And I think the best thing to really help yourself stay on top of anything, no matter what you're doing, is to for sure set deadlines, especially for something as big as this. Um, and like after I have those deadlines done, that's when I ping my affiliates and with the event dates, the deadlines they need to meet, things that they need to take into consideration during the planning phase, and finally a form for them to submit for their booth. Because again, I am stickler for details and I need things in my hand I need plans in my hand for me to be able to see what's happening and for me to work with it. Um, After they submit their plans for their booth, I go over them. And then I raise questions about things that don't make sense, things that need more refinement. Um, all of that before I can fully approve it. And then if it doesn't make sense to me, then the chances are it won't make sense to a patron in the moment, right? And if it doesn't make sense to a patron, then they're most likely not going to have fun with what's being offered. And I don't want them to not have fun. I want them to have fun. And I don't want my affiliates to have a hard time as well in the moment for something that was potentially like poorly planned. Like I want things to go smoothly for everyone in general. And while I'm doing all of that, I'll reach out to the bards with available showtime slots, and then I'll work out details with them. And then 2 weeks before the event, I'll close my venue to decorate the yard, build the booths for everybody, build the stage. And then I'll update the event cards and graphics with all of the details that was handed to me by the affiliates from their forms. And then I'll make a new event poster, which gets pushed out a week before the event. So it's a lot. It is a lot now that I am thinking about it. But to me, it is more so time consuming than it is hard. But honestly, the workload it's fine to me. It's the one thing that can be difficult sometimes, which I'm sure that a lot of event planners can relate to, is communicating with your affiliates or your vendors. Because sometimes life happens and then things don't get met. Deadlines don't get met, and it's fine. It's as long as I always make sure to communicate with my affiliates and then sending out updates and reminders after every deadline just to stay on top of things. And then encouraging them to also communicate with me as well. It is, I think, the biggest factor of why things go well for my events. Because if something is delayed or goes wrong, I can take action, I can hold them accountable, and then I can offer a solution and work together with them to get them to where they need to be. And it's a lot of gentle and firm pushing. But overall, all of that is necessary for me to be able to plan out and have a successful event.
So during the event itself, now that you've gone through all this communication, all this planning, all this organizing, is there also a lot of Discord or link shell chat that's happening among you and your affiliates, or at the actual event, is it a lot more autonomous?
So I have a link shell for all festival staff, volunteers, affiliates, bards as well. So everyone is in one link shell. And basically, the way I do it is I oversee everything. And if there's a problem that they come across that needs to be communicated to me, they can do it to me. They can do it in game, or they can message me on Discord, right? Um, but overall, if for some reason I'm also caught up with something, I have my staff as well who are in VC with me, and they can communicate the affiliates' issues to me in VC. So oh, something needs to be updated in the cart. Okay, I can do that right now, and then I am going to help someone else with this and that. And then if someone needs a shopping run, I can send someone. And then the bards are in there as well because I have my staff managing the show schedule for me so that I don't have to worry about it. I can just focus on other things. And so it's hey, so and so, it's 5 minutes before your showtime. Are you ready? And just making sure they're checking in with the staff. The bards. But overall, they're in one link shell, and if I need to communicate something with them, I can do it there too. So break times, etc. Yeah, communications happen in game, and if I don't reply, then they can message me on Discord.
It really does sound like a lot of intricate planning, but also I've seen the results of that. And so clearly, I would say it's worth the effort, to be sure.
It is. It is very worth the effort.
I do have to wonder, though, now that we've talked about the prep work that goes into the event, as well as sort of the behind the scenes communication during the event itself, let me ask you about after the event. Do you and your affiliates find yourselves burnt out or really energized and excited because you just got done with this event? I mean, what is it like for the first, let's say, few days post Matsuri? Are you exhausted, or where are you at?
Um, After the event, everyone is definitely exhausted since the event is 2 days long, right? And not everyone has the same energy and like fortitude that I do when it comes to like all the stuff that I have to do in one day, right? I have one affiliate who like can only handle maybe 3 hours max of role playing before he's like completely checked out. So it is definitely a lot. And everyone is definitely exhausted by the end. But after the event, like we are, there's just always so much love and happiness from everyone because we had so much fun with the festival, with each other and with the guests. So despite like the exhaustion and the amount of work that's being put into it, and then like the exhaustion and like on our mental after the festival, well, I think we can all agree that like it was worth it in the end because we all had fun. And like myself personally, the love, happiness, and satisfaction that I feel for myself and from everyone after every festival is definitely a reason why I continue to host these events every year. And it's also another reason why like my affiliates look forward to the festivals every year and why they always want to participate because it's something that like it's a motivating factor for them to get them through like droughts and burnout periods. And it's something that the community can have fun with during these burnout periods as well.
I was actually just about to ask you about said burnout periods. And because obviously, now that we've gone through Endwalker and we're in Dawn Trail, as a community, there has been a lot of discussion about things like burnout, about time investment, etc.
Mm-hmm.
And so you just said something that really clicked with me is that you want these events to basically help people when they're burnt out on content, or if there's a content drought, give them something to do. And I'm curious if personally, does running the tea house plus these events help you with your own burnout during like drought periods or just when you feel like you've been playing the game a bit too much?
So running the tea house definitely does help with like burnout because it's the only time of the night where I can relax in the game, right? Because like I'm working on commissions and I'm rating and like all of that. And so sitting in my venue is the only time that I can actually just sit and relax and just not have to think about like content or anything like that, especially during droughts and burnout periods for everybody else. Like the place is open for primarily myself to relax and then also for other people to relax as well with me. And the events, despite how much time and effort it takes to get them all set up and like running, it honestly does help with the content and burnout periods as well because it's something that everyone can look forward to in since like there's nothing else to do. And like we're spending so much time planning this out, talking with like our staff and like just it it's just overall fun while there's nothing else going on. So it does help a lot.
All right. Well, as we get towards the end of the interview, let me ask this. If I have been sitting here and I haven't attended one of your celebrations before, and I just heard that Toji Matsuri is coming up in December, sell me on why I should drop by and attend this celebration.
Final Fantasy players like gambling, yeah? Come spend your money. I'm kidding. Um, give it a shot because it's a really nice and lively atmosphere. It basically is it gives opportunity to mingle and meet new people and also enjoy a little bit of the venue community. And also just like experiencing listening to bards live and then just like also enjoying Eastern customs as well. So, like I've been saying a lot tonight, it there's a little bit of something for everyone to enjoy, so come and try it out. I'm sure you'll find something.
Well, dear listener, I hope that that's helped convince you. And I also want to point out that obviously I will be in attendance at the Toji Matsuri because I would not miss it for the world. And I am personally very excited for it. So I hope if you're listening to this, you will come and try it as well.
Please come. You'll have so much fun.
Before we go, there is one more thing I need to ask you yet. Now,
Yeah, for sure.
you've given me 2 hours of your time this evening, and I really appreciate that. So now we reach the part of the interview where I always ask my guest, do you have one or two questions for me? And they can be about any topic you want, any question you want.
Hmm. Hmm. I guess my first question would be if you have any Eastern teas or desserts that you really like.
Oh, oh goodness. Pretty much anything matcha flavored. Like I really love matcha ice cream.
Mm-hmm.
I'm such a sucker for it. Oh goodness.
Oh, comrade.
Oh my gosh. Let's see. Any other um this might sound weird to some people, and if you've never tried it, I want to very highly encourage. I really enjoy an iced matcha latte with white chocolate because the problem with matcha is that it can be more of a subtle flavor. And if you pair it with a really strong chocolate or a really strong strawberry, you do run the risk of overpowering the taste of the matcha. And I find that white chocolate is not so sweet that it helps complement the taste of the green tea and makes it a bit smoother, like if you're adding cream, but it doesn't overpower the green tea. So one of my favorite things to drink year round is actually an iced matcha latte with probably one shot of white chocolate in it.
Where do you typically get like your drink from?
Well, the first time I tried it was actually at this cafe in Chicago. I was visiting there to attend Distant Worlds, and
Mm-hmm.
I saw what they had as drink options, and I was like, matcha and white chocolate. That sounds interesting. I'll give it a try. And I loved it. I was like, this tastes amazing. And
Ooh.
there's a really nice cafe by my work here in town that they actually get ceremonial grade matcha from Japan, and they make their matcha lattes out of that. And I usually just ask them to add a little white chocolate to it. A lot of places will, when they make a matcha latte to help boost the flavor, they'll add like a shot of vanilla syrup in there. And I
Uh-huh.
usually just ask places to replace the vanilla shot with a white chocolate shot. And it turns out so smooth, and I can't
Ooh.
recommend it enough.
I'll keep that in mind.
If you try it, please let me know. And you, dear listener, please let me know because it's definitely a drink that I've fallen in love with. And do you have a second question?
I do. Do you have a favorite Eastern historical anime, manga, webtoon, or drama?
Like, let me take a few days to write you a list. um, I don't think I've mentioned it too much this season, but outside of my Final Fantasy XIV content, I'm actually pretty well known for my study of Japanese history, as well as Japanese history presented through pop culture. So if there's like a video game or an anime or a manga that has a historic setting or even a lot of historic references, I've probably indulged in it at some point in my life.
Mm.
So boiling it down, oh man.
Hard, right?
If I really had to pick, I assume a lot of people listening are familiar with the manga group Clamp.
Ah, yes, yes.
And for those that are like, that sounds a little familiar, they made Ray Earth, they made Cardcaptor Sakura, they made X99, and they, for a little bit, they unfortunately gave up on the series. They actually made a series inspired by Japanese samurai called Gate 7.
Mm-hmm.
GATE space and then the number 7. And I reread it quite a lot. I'm holding out hope, even though I know it's not going to happen, that they're going to return to it. Um, and Gate 7 is really good. I think there's only maybe 4 or 5 volumes of the manga, but I really enjoy rereading it. So if I had to pick, it's either going to be that or there's a very good manga and anime series called Danten Niwaro, which is Laughing Under the Clouded Sky or Laughing Under the Clouds.
Mm-hmm.
And I recommend everyone to look it up. I don't really have time to fully explain the series, but it's set during the Meiji period and it is very good.
Oh,
And
I've
I
watched
definitely
this
recommend
one.
it.
I've watched this one. I really liked it.
It is so good.
It is very good. I highly recommend this one too.
I own the anime, I own the OVAs, and I own the manga. Um,
Oh,
and the artist is so good. The storyline is it's really interesting because it does a really good job of going along that line between shoujo and shonen. Like it has really heartwarming, cute family moments. I I would probably say either Gate 7 or Dante Niwaro.
honestly, 10 out of 10 recommendations.
Thank you.
Have you heard of like Sayankoku Monogatari?
Um, give me the English translation for that.
Uh,
Maybe it'll jog my memory.
the story of Sayankoku.
I don't believe so, actually. I'm sure I'm gonna look it up later and probably be like, "Oh yeah, that." But
It is one of my favorite like early time historical shoujo series that I highly recommend you and maybe also the listeners to watch too.
throw me a link to that.
Yeah. Here, let
Um,
me
let's see. I have seen it. I have not watched or read it.
have you I'm sure everyone knows like with today's historical series, The Apothecary Diaries.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, I'm definitely
similar to
familiar with
that with more it's similar to that.
that. Okay. I'll look into it after we're done chatting.
Yeah, there's like 39 episodes. I think you should get into it.
Interesting. We will definitely talk about this later.
Indeed.
All right. Well, I feel I've kept you enough, and I really appreciate you coming by. And again, if you're listening, Toji Matsuri coming up in about a month, so maybe consider dropping by.
If you do drop by, say hi, and I thank you in advance for coming and having fun with us.
And on the off chance you do forget to say hi, there is a solid chance that at some point while attending, you will get a polite tell asking how you're enjoying the festival. All right. Well, yeah, thank you. And I hope you have a wonderful night.
You as well. Thank you for having me.
Take care.
You as well. Bye bye.
I'm very glad that Yao decided to stop by. Hearing about her passion to not only celebrate Eastern cultures but to bring together people from all across Eorzea to enjoy it together truly does inspire me. It shows the kind of heart our community possesses. It's both mine and Yao's sincere wish that you'll come to Toji Matsuri next month. I'm sure that if you attend, you'll have an unforgettable evening, and I highly encourage it. Also, as autumn sets in, please remember to stay warm, dear friend. Enjoy some nice coffee, or I'm sure Yao would say tea, or even some hot chocolate. Bundle up, get cozy, and enjoy the beautiful changing of the seasons. With that being said, this is when I'll tell you I look forward to seeing you next time. And when you come here, I'll have a warm drink and wonderful guests. I hope you take care.